Yes, miserable. So we are creating this federation, like putting together a lot of different towns, and then the idea is quite simple. We are creating what I call ID space. An ID space is an identity container that's used by organizations. Okay, and these ID spaces can do many things, as I will show you, but mainly they can create identities for the people they know. So that's one. And then we have it's a process system. It's like a process management system. We call it recipes because it's a state machine. So we are creating some kind of smart contracts on the edges using these recipes. I will explain a little bit later. Okay. Then I just go to the demo. It's quite simple. Even it's not, but just like I create my first ID space. This is using Zenroom by default, so all of the keys and everything that's going on the back is using Zenroom and Substrate and Matrix. But I just need to put a name to it, so it's like my company, wherever it's an organization. So we are creating new deed key pairs. The public key, it's a public key generated with Goldilocks in Zenroom, and then we are using Substrate to store this public key associated to the DID, to the deed. Okay.
Okay.
And we are creating a document, so we are following all of the standards from the W3C to do that. And now you have like you have created the identity for your organization, and now you can like run this ID space, and it's running and it's listening. So it's listening to messages. You can connect to it. The way it works, it's creating channels. In Matrix, they are called rooms. But
they are called what? Sorry.
Rooms.
Rooms. Okay.
Yeah. Abitazione.
Ah.
It's that?
No, in Italian is stanza.
Stanza. Okay.
Yes.
So it's creating rooms between identities. So whenever we create a room, like between a citizen and one organization, basically both sides they agree on what information they should share. So it's some kind of GDPR-compliant channel that we're building. Okay. And then the language, this is some kind of WhatsApp or Telegram between identities. So they speak a language, and this language is these recipes I've been telling you about. So you can do a lot of things. If right now I'm running, as you can see, I'm running it. So what are the things I'm gonna do? It's like I'm gonna add an admin. I'm gonna create a new identity that will be the administrator of Kaelum Labs. That will be me, by the way. But I'm just creating that, and whenever I create that, I'm also giving this user a credential that basically he's the admin of Kaelum Labs. Okay.
Maybe I have a typo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Add the admin.
I don't even know. So once again, that's my second name. In order to connect, like right now, we have an SDK, and I will share you also. Wait, here GitHub. Most of the libraries we used, almost all of them, they're open source. So, is there a chat here yet? Okay. You can find it here. So as you can see in the screen right now, I'm creating a connection string. Basically, this is we also use in Zenroom, but it's an encrypted string where I tell how to connect to this, which federation to use, which did method, and everything is it's encrypted. We have right now the application. It's a PWA, Progressive Web App, and then we send the link to the Progressive Web App with this connection string. Okay. But then the connection, the SDK basically allows you to connect here. And what I did is I coded myself some kind of terminal I can use. And this terminal, so this is the terminal, and it's an SDK that you can use to connect. So I coded myself using this SDK, a terminal, and this terminal creates the identity. Well, it does not create. It connects to the ID space of Kaelum and asks for a new deed. So it's right now Kaelum. It's the one that are CAs for the blockchain that can add the deeds to the blockchain. That's what I do. here I create my own key pair, and then I do a handshake with Kailum Labs, and I tell them, okay, this is me, and we check all of the signatures. We check, we do a challenge, so we check public keys in both sides, and if everything is okay and you're using the token I sent you, then I create one identity for you. Okay.
Alex, are you doing something on your screen?
No, not yet. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Cool.
Now I'm working on it.
Yep.
So I need to give a username and a password for this. So I will tell that that's me, Alex P, and a password, whatever. And then I need the connection string, and it's always this the pin that I'm going to use. The reason is that for legal reasons, we have to send the connection string and the pin through different channels to make it secure. Okay, and if you here, like if you go here, basically, I'm just adding the contact. I'm creating a room between both, and I'm doing the handshake to verify that's the token, and only me can create this. So right now I'm connected. That means that the handshake ended, and then the ID space created the verifiable credential and send it to me. Now here I can do a few things. Like not too much, but then I can see my own information. I can see my own credentials. All of this information is stored right now on the file system inside of home my username .lorena. But you can create your own wallet and attach it to it. So we have a wallet that works on a Linux file system, and we have a wallet that works on the browser with local storage. But then it encrypts all of your information with your username and password. Okay, everything is encrypted there. And as you can see, like here we have this credential that basically I'm the admin, and these are my names, information like that. Okay, and back to what I told you, the recipes. The way I can speak to my ID space, like I have what is a recipe that's called ping, that basically say pong. But then if I go here, this is my ID space that's running right now. I just get into the source recipes, and I go into the ping recipe. It's some kind of a smart contract, and it's just like ping.json. This is one recipe, simple one. Okay, it has name, version, and description, help desk, arguments. It also can have roles, so I can decide which role can call this recipe. So I could, but then the roles, instead of being based on who you are based on the credentials you have. As you can see here, I'm admin. So if I add here the role of admin, then only me could call them. So the access management to these recipes are based on roles, not on IDs or DIDs or DIDs. Okay. Then I have my Pong, and I say, hey, Zenroom. It's quite simple. It's always the same. Like there are different kind of states. It's really, it's not really complete. It's control. There are really few things you can do with the steps. As I said, it's some kind of state machine. So you can receive, send, verify a credential, send a credential, or ask for a credential, a few things more. But then you can define your whole process just by putting this step by step. And this step by step can be with your identity or with other identity. I can do remote ping where I call one identity to do a ping to another identity. So even one of the things that I can do, I can start another recipe in another ID space. Okay, I just did that, and it has auto reload, by the way, so it does a pump Zenroom. Yeah. So there are many kinds of recipes. As you can see, I can do a ping remote. What it does is it starts another recipe in a different DID. As you can see, the DID, it gets in arguments. So I receive the ping from them, and then I send it back to the one that asked for it. So I can create these processes where different IDs, they talk to each other. So I can ask to the city for something. They will ask to someone in the city that they can give this permission. They send me the credential and send it back to you. These kind of things. So any kind of process relating with credentials can be defined just with a JSON file. Okay, and this JSON file can be reloaded in real time. One of the things we're doing right now is that from the terminal, you can send a new recipe and you can test it. so you can work with your recipes. Okay, and in these recipes we will add a lot of course we have verification of credentials, but we can add things like related to Zenroom. That's something we can talk, like how to include many cryptographic options with that. Okay.
The simplest will be to include a Zen code.
Everything that we are doing, it's working with Zen code inside.
And also in the JSON, like
yeah,
the condition could be a Zen code itself.
Exactly. That's what we are defining right now, the recipes, the way they are. The way I see it, it would be something graphic, like imagine a set of boxes where you can put the condition of each boxes, but it's a step-by-step process. It's a state machine. And you set the conditions inside of each step, you set the conditions to go to the next step. And usually the conditions is that any identity give me a credential, or I don't know. One of the examples we did, it was with a bank, by the way. And instead of giving my bank my credit card number to the commerce, so I was speaking to the commerce. I was starting. Let me show you. I can. These are the ones that I have by default. So product. If I go here, I have product by. As you can see, this one has a lot of steps.
Wow.
Okay, but in this, basically, what I'm doing in this recipe, from my terminal, from our client, I call my ID space and I tell the ID space to buy something from an e-commerce. So basically, I start this product page with a product ID, and then I receive the different options. Like imagine I want to buy a laptop.
This is impressive. So you are managing from a single point several connections, verifying.
Yep, exactly. So my idea is that I will control everything. So instead of the bank talking to the e-commerce, I will talk to the e-commerce. They will send me the price. I will talk to the bank and tell the bank to pay for it, but it's me. And then I will get a credential from the bank saying that I already paid for that. So I will send this credential to the e-commerce, and the e-commerce knows that I already paid for that. But then I can use it to, if I want to buy wine, I can, the e-commerce can ask me for a credential that I'm older than 18, so I can have that. Or I can get a discount if I'm older than 65. I can use but everything is with my consent. Every time that the e-commerce asks me for a credential, I can decide if I want to share it with them or not. So it's up to me.
And the connection is all handled through identifiers over matrix.
Exactly. Yeah, and everything it's completely peer-to-peer, and everything it's even more. Every time I share information with a third party, I get everyone gets a receipt, so they can prove that I decided to share that information with them. So any kind of small SME, small company, e-commerce, they will be compliant with GDPR by default by using this. But the good thing is, like, as long as they have the channels, they don't need to have the information. Like I can buy from the e-commerce, and once I buy, I can open a different channel with a postal someone to go there, get the packet and give it back to me. So the e-commerce, they don't need to have my information. So we are protecting as much as possible a lot of information. If also we add the zero-knowledge proof to this, then it's amazing, because like I just need to create a new matrix user for each connection, and we can have disposable matrix users, so we can reset them, and we don't store information on the matrix server. So every time I want to do something, I create a new matrix user. I can share my zero-knowledge proof. I can prove that I paid for something, and then I can tell somebody else to go there. But then through these channels, I can get the receipt, the invoice, anything that I want to have. The warranty for the company or for a user. For me, it's like the box I have at home with all of the invoices, warranties, and papers that I just put there that I received. But in a digital way, but everything is signed completely. So that's why we use Zenroom. Everything, it's all of the communication and with all of the receipts, every step it's signed. So it's way more secure.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Very nice.
So
I have a couple of questions, just they are details, but
yeah, sure.
you have versioning for your receipts. Like the ping example, you just reloaded the receipt with new information, but the client worked seamlessly. How do you handle versioning for, like, for the e-commerce? You have 0.1.
Yeah. We honestly, Puria, we're faking that now. We are working on that, but the versioning is quite complex and we are not there yet.
Yeah, I saw. Okay. And in the local storage of your PWA, what do you store? Is just the signature of the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, depending on the ID space, that's your identity. Here. It's this is it. Like it's SQLite.
Yes.
We decided to use SQLite because it's completely portable, so I don't depend on I can put it everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I just move this SQLite, I put it everywhere else, and that's it. And we are using Kubernetes, so we can deploy ID spaces really easily.
Show me the dot schema.
Right now it's quite simple. You have authorizations, you have the different contacts that you are creating, you have these recipes. We are using, so instead of,
you keep the recipes into the, okay.
Well, the recipes we loaded, we're using actor system. So if one recipe falls, it's not a problem. And we can decide right now which recipes are up and which are down. So you can stop a recipe if you want to. If you're an admin, you can stop recipes. As you see, like at the beginning, here, it's loading all the different recipes.
Yes.
There's a lot of contacts, some for credentials, but then also you have like how to add or revoke peers, but then even
Control D, or quit.
Okay, no, it's do what I'm doing wrong. No, the hard way. Recipes and stuff. Here I have it organized, so but then I have my own recipe, and then I can do introspect, enable, disable, or work with different recipes, revoke access. Even recipes, they have an access management, so I can decide who can access to each one of the recipes.
Yeah.
I have, and we are working on the versioning, but then we are working on a marketplace of recipes. So basically, recipes will have their own identity on the blockchain too. So, and recipes will have an author, and even like we can make a system of grants for recipes, but people working on the recipes, they can put it together, and then I can install my own recipe, some kind of NPM for recipe.
I see. And well, all the business logic goes into the steps, right?
Exactly. And then also steps, you can create new steps, but then steps right now are part of ID space itself because we want to have a lot of control, but the plan is like to open it so you can create your own steps. But then some of these steps are really, you can, I did one that, for example, I can show you another one. Like,
that is super awesome. You realize something that we were talking about months.
Okay, like this one, for example, it has, it looks quite simple. That's type, email, send, receive, and send. And if I go, I can code them like one by one. And what I'm doing is like sending a verification via email and using the channel to verify an email. But then I can do that. Like I can, and then we are talking to companies because we can use one of these steps as a way to integrate with their with the backgrounds. So imagine that they have a database in the background, or they need to change the state of something that happened, like an e-commerce, for example.
Sure.
And we're using these steps in a controlled way, like how to interact with this. And I can call their own API or whatever I want to. That will be instead. So we can personalize. Once you have it, your own ID space, you can personalize it to be integrated into anything. But then everything works with the recipes. And the recipes are ready. And also each recipe, it has an identifier and a unique identifier. So I can have many recipes going on at the same time. If I call you with a recipe and my recipe is pink and I give you a number 25, you will ask me with pink 25, and you will ask me with your own recipe. Probably you have a different one in your back, answering for that. If I just go here, like as I show you, right now there's many things I can do. Of course, there's a contact handshake. I can invite more users to here, and these users, they can be like volunteers. That's the application we have right now. But what I wanted to do, yeah, I just wanted to show you like to show you like how simple it is. First of all, here basically I ask for the username, for the password, and then as I told you, the wallet is the way on the client that you store things. It's open. Okay. Now we have lock and unlock, but it's an interface. You can define your own and store it in the way you want it.
Sure.
But then to connect, I need this connection string I have that I take it right now. And then I just need handshake, lock, and that's it. And now I can listen to any events like this is a message for a credential get where I ask for permission to send a credential. This is a credential ask. Everything, it's quite simple. I have this simple function that's for any recipe that's just like call and back. It's just one step. With this, I send the action. As I said, it's always like the recipe. It's my name, the name of the recipe I'm calling. Like it's pink. I call 0 because there's no recipe on the other side yet. I'm starting it. This is mine and my ID. And then there's always a payload. It's always like these 5 events. And I wait for it. I will Lorena one message, or I can wait like, as you can see, like doing a terminal for this is quite simple. This is the information I have on my wallet. It's quite simple. I'm using it autocomplete, but then I can see my credentials. So every time I receive a credential, I add it to my list of credentials, so I can decide which credential I want to show, or I want to share with. So building then any kind of application or a client or whatever, it's easy.
Yes, easy to make new interfaces and
exactly. So that's the idea. As you see here, like if I call the ping admin ping, then I'm calling just ping, and this is the input. I just print the output. I have the contact list. I have everything. As I already did the first times, if I get back in terminal, I already have my wallet. So I just go back in, and then it's just opening the wallet that's already existing. So
this is amazing. I have 3 questions.
Sure.
I can't keep.
Go.
One is the Diego Torres connected rapid?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Hi, Diego.
Hi, how are you?
I remember you. You've been a great contributor to Ashicam and other software.
Yeah.
I remember you made Ashicam secure.
Okay.
Wow. Cool to meet you. Hope you're well.
Nice to meet you.
Cool. And yeah, the other question is why do you use why don't you use yet coconut credentials? Or are you using?
We started with something simple.
Okay.
And then from here, because it depends on the use case. All of the use case that we have right now, the people that we are working with the company that they want to have a community of developers without any kind of data on the developers. Because in this system, they have an ID space. All of the developers, they have their own identity container with a client. So they don't need to have names, emails, or whatever, because they can send any kind of information. So what they want to do is like create the kind of recipes they need. It's to create meetups and then prove that people went to the meetups.
Okay.
So but they are public credentials at the end of the day. And then with this city, they only need this what we already have. Like I can invite somebody. Like can do contact invite, and then I will invite Diego. This is whatever. I'm creating a new user. So this is the connection string and the ping. And let me show you this. It's clear recently. I'm going to create a new terminal for a new client for them. Wait there, Diego. This is connection string.
Supera ahora mismo.
So now I'm inviting Diego to do the handshake. Right, hi. As you can see, like if now I do a contact list, I'm an admin. I can see the different contacts that I already verified, but if I do it here, as I'm a volunteer, I'm not an admin, so of course I don't receive anything at all. I just will get a timeout. Anyway, one of the things that I can do, it's like, okay, I do info, and this is the deed from Diego, so I can like contact that Diego. This is the matrix user. I can add them. So now I created a channel between the two clients. So it's not that I need to go through the space. Now these two clients are connected. So I invited them, I see contacts, and I see that I have this contact. And then I can tell him, okay, send me your credential. This is the identifier right now that we're using because it's the deed plus the matrix user. So, and then, yes, it's asking for credentials, share the credential, I can say yes, and then I receive the credential here. Receive the credential. So now I can verify the credential is true because I have everything, and then I just need to match the DID with the blockchain, and we already have a library for that. So verify in a signature.
Okay. So basically you are using just for now, just ACDH, so Goldilocks signature.
Yeah, we're using encryption, signatures, and it's zero knowledge
That's
proof.
very stable.
Yeah, zero knowledge proof. It's already integrated on the library. So if we have this library here, and I did even in the test, I have a full zero knowledge proof test with all of the, as you can see, like we are creating the issue key, we're doing everything. And then what we're doing is like we are keeping the signature for the zero knowledge proof as an identity on the blockchain. So, and then we can use it. So everything is ready. It's only about finding the right use case to put it there. But integrating into it's just adding one step, as you can see. For us right now, it's not difficult and it can be integrated. I wanted to do something that's quite open, so it can be used for identity for many use cases. Because there are so many that if we just focus on one, it was complicated, and everybody was focusing on building identities. So we focused on the relations between identities. But I think it's a kind of philosophical question. For me, identity is the way I relate to others. So my identity, it's not my list of credentials. So it's like my list of contacts and how do I relate with other people. And then, so that's why I came up with this language, an easy language of sending and receiving messages between identities.
Yes, that's the network. Yeah, well, it's great. I have more questions. You need to remember them all. Okay, one simple Zenroom lib that you use with the fix for React Native, Puria, you are following it because eventually we want to integrate it. Okay. That's it.
I'm following the channel. Anything related to Zenroom that one of the things that we need as soon as possible as is revocation of credentials, how to revoke credentials.
But that's not within Zenroom alone. I mean, we can have things in Zenroom. We are very close to have things for revocation. Yes.
Great.
And that's the function, the not yet well documented function in Zencode that can derivate arrays. So you,
And then that's, yeah, then that would be great, because then I can verify if a hash is in an array, isn't it?
yeah, and mostly you want to first aggregate a list of elliptic curve points and see if the sum is the same as the other, because the way to do revocation is, but then there is needs to communicate.
Okay.
But I will, I'll put it higher in my priority list.
Okay.
And I have maybe another question, but it's not really urgent. Perhaps if you need other signatures, PLS signatures and this sort of stuff for secret sharing, but it doesn't look like, so you're fine.
I think not by now. Most of our efforts right now are on the recipes, on building a better, more secure and reliable recipe system.
Okay, I think I have a recipe ready here for me, and it's food. Sorry, I skipped lunch because of going out and shopping.
So,
Alex, I have a couple of things to ask as well.
yeah, let me know.
Okay. First of all, so your presentation has been recorded. Can we share it with friends?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay. If we do that, can you give me 3 lines to describe Lorena? So that I will put the title to the video.
Yeah, sure. Diego, can you send them something, please?
Yes, of course.
Cool.